It's tung tung sahur revolution, yo!
What are you watching? BRAINROT? Gee, that makes you dumb.
Hey everyone! Azhar here.
And Abyan here.
BRAINROT makes you stupid.
Or does it?
So firstly, what does brain rot actually mean? It's not a literal brain decay. It refers to a perceived decline in someone's mental or intellectual condition, usually blamed on consuming trivial, low-effort content, especially online.
And it's not a small trend either. According to the Oxford Language Corpus, usage of the term jumped to 230% between 2023 and 2024. Oxford narrowed thousands of candidates' words down to 6 finalists. Things like demure, slop, romantasy, and over 37,000 people voted. BRAINROT won by a landslide.
Which tells us something. This isn't just a niche joke anymore. It's become part of how we talk about modern life.
But here's the twist. This anxiety is actually way older than TikTok.
Way older. The term brain rot was first used in 1854 by Henry David Thoreau. In his book Walden, he compared society's decline in critical thinking to the potato blight that was devastating England at the time.
And if you zoom out, this fear repeats every time a new medium shows up. Novels caused a moral panic in the 90s, TV was called the idiot box in the 50s through 80s, and now it's a short form video.
So the real question isn't, is brain rot real? It's how much of today's concern is actually backed by science versus just history repeating itself.
Let's start with IQ, because there is real evidence of decline. It's called the reverse Flynn effect.
Right. Through most of the 20th century, IQ scores actually rose steadily, about 3 points per decade. That's the Flynn effect. But since the mid-90s, several countries have seen that trend reverse.
The strongest study here is from Norway, Bratsberg and Rogeberg, 2018. They look at mandatory military test score and found IQ peaked in the cohort born in 1975, then dropped by about 7 points per generation after that. And this decline even showed up between biological siblings, which rules out genetic as the cause.
A similar pattern showed up in the US too. Verbal reasoning and matrix reasoning scores dropped between 2006 and 2018. Interestingly, spatial rotation ability actually improved.
But here's the catch, and this is important. The turning point was the 1975 birth cohort. The generation hit adulthood in early 1990s, long before smartphones or social media existed.
So yes, the reverse Flynn effect is real, but blaming it directly on social media? That's a conclusion the data just doesn't support. Now, attention span. This is actually where the evidence is strongest.
A massive meta-analysis in Psychological Bulletin pulled 71 studies, covering almost 100,000 people. The findings: short-form video, like TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts, is linked to moderately poorer attention and inhibitory control. That's your brain's ability to resist impulsive urge.
But there's always a but in science. Not every study agrees. A systematic review on midriff actually found TikTok use was weakly linked to better accuracy on certain attention control tasks.
And most of this research is correlational, not experimental, so we genuinely don't know yet. Does short-form video cause weaker attention, or do people who already have weaker attention just get drawn to it more?
Chicken or egg? Science hasn't fully cracked that one yet.
Let's bring this closer to our home, Indonesia.
The 2022 PISA results look alarming. Reading literacy dropped to 359, the lowest score since Indonesia joined PISA in 2000. Math and science scores dropped too.
At first glance, This looks like solid proof of brain rot, but here's the confound. Kemendikbudristek themselves said the drop was largely driven by COVID-19 learning loss. The test was taken in mid-2022, right after prolonged school closures.
And it's not just Indonesia, it's globally. Reading scores dropped by 18 points on average, which is actually worse than Indonesia's 12-point drop.
So, this isn't necessarily Gen Z's brain are rotting from screens. It's much more likely a mix of pandemic disruption and long-term digital habits, tangled together in a way research hasn't fully untangled yet.
So, where does that leave us?
3 things. 1. IQ decline is real, but it predates social media, so it's not direct proof of a digital cost. 2. Attention span has the strongest evidence, though findings aren't unanimous. 3. Literacy decline is multifactorial, with the pandemic as a major confounding factor.
The most responsible thing isn't to dismiss brain rot as internet drama, and it's not to accept it as settled fact either. It's to treat it as a hypothesis, one worth testing further, and one we should stay open to updating as new evidence comes in.
Basically, stay curious, not paranoid.
Now that we've talked you through the research, we also want to show you our poster, which maps out this whole argument visually, from the origin of the word brain rot all the way to the PISA data.
Thank you so much for watching, and remember, next time someone say your brain is rotting, you can tell them, it's a little more complicated than that.
See you next time!